Hello, Stefan Hoppe speaking here. It's a pleasure for me to be again a speaker here at your OPC Day Japan in this year 2022. And I truly believe it makes sense to have it virtual because we reach many more people in your region without traveling. This is what we learned through the pandemic. I like to go quickly to the agenda. I will talk about four major topics. It's about the OPC Foundation, some news about the technology touching the field and the cloud initiative, talking about information models, give you a short update, but also give you an update on what are news and what happened else in this year. Before I dive into the details, I like to congratulate you for this fantastic agenda of your OPC Day Japan. I have seen so many success stories and engagement from large companies. I really invite everybody to share this. Let's have English versions of that and share it with the world, what OPC Japan is here contributing to the world. Again, congrats. And again, thank you for having me here. I like to address the OPC Foundation membership quickly. The OPC Foundation is growing constantly. During the pandemic, we grow roundabout by 50 new members per year. The years before the pandemic, we had higher growth. I like to congratulate Japan for over 60 members in 2022 as status of today. And so overall, I'm really proud to represent the OPC Foundation as the largest ecosystem for cross-domain industrial interoperability. I do not want to go through all events what happened in 2022 as a summary. This would be too time consuming. But as an example, I like to highlight the AGEMA as the OPC Foundation went their first time on their own with a super large booth over 300 square meter, which originally was supposed to be rented by other partner organizations, but they canceled last minute because the trade show has been moved into the vacation time frame. Anyway, we welcomed a lot of partners, what you see here, and some associations, and we had huge areas for technology, field, cloud, and collaborations. As one of the highlights, we had a live demonstrator with OPC over Ethernet APL. And this was shown by our new Class A company, Samsung, and they have been able, within just 2 hours, by installing a Docker container with pre-installed OPC over MQTT packages inside to be connected with their device to the Microsoft Azure dashboard. That was really a good example how quick and easy everything can be. One of my favorite reports at the AGEMA 2022 was from the OPC Foundation press conference. And here I so much liked the statement from ABB. It was exactly about their process automation system vision, and they highlighted how to get within 3 steps to OPC. On the left upper side, you see that OPC is just for parameterization and diagnosis to the north port through the PA-DIM diode to the upper layers, and they have Profinet for the field and cyclic data. On the right part, upper part, you see that they have kind of hybrid products where also OPC in parallel with Profinet is included into devices, and they have already shown that as a prototype 2 years ago at the RFC meeting in February 2022. But their main goal is to completely replace everything and just run OPC as you see here at the bottom. What a fantastic message. The reasons why we had so much space at the ACHEMA was our contribution to this process automation trade show. Remember, OPC started years ago as OLE for process control in the process area, and so we wanted to show that the process industry specifically has a high adoption of OPC under preparation. 3 major initiatives in the world, the Open Process Automation Forum, have committed to have only OPC as their communication backbone. The Namur Open Architecture has selected OPC exclusively as the communication pattern for the process control and plant monitoring and optimization systems. And the MTP initiative has also selected OPC status today as the only communication channel for MTP. What a great commitment from the process industry, and what great success we can see here in the future. Let's have a look on the technology, specifically on the field initiative and the cloud initiative. Remember, first of all, that with OPC we want to have one single harmonized solution, which is for multiple areas, the process at the factory, and upcoming also energy, which I see more and more, scaling from field to cloud in a harmonized way. Let's first look at OPC to the field. First of all, remember that end 2018 at the SPS show in November, we started the so-called Field Level Communications Initiative, and they announced to extend OPC down to the field, including determinism, safety, motion, and meanwhile also instrumentation. 27 major automation companies have joined, and at that time the title page of the press magazine, of the trade show magazine, have shown Rockwell, Mitsubishi, and Siemens and myself, and they announced it as the United Nations of Automation, which I'm personally pretty happy and comfortable with. For me as a German person, the United Nations are the foundation of peace, where everybody is working together in the best way after the Second World War. But I know that in other regions in the world, the United Nations sometimes don't have a good standing. So let's keep it only from the best. As a result of 4-year work, really hard work, first of all, I'd like to thank more than 300 experts from over 60 companies who have been heavily engaged in this really difficult process to align everything. You might think, why does it take 4 years to release specifications? But remember, first of all, they had to come together and agree on fundamental concepts and basic concepts, which are also the concept and the basics for the next parts. Status today, the specifications for controller to controller communication have been released, but in future, obviously, there are more steps. Second, the reason why it took 4 years, sure, the pandemic also took place and was sometimes a little bit blocking face-to-face meetings, but this team also made a lot of extensive prototyping to make sure that everything is really, all the implementations are really maintaining the cross-vendor interoperability, and all use cases have been addressed. I like to quickly mention that also the OPC safety specification has been slightly updated. There is a new version, a new revision available. Remember, it has started 4 years ago as a joint working group with Profinet, Profibus International, and in the first step, only client-server support, OPC client-server was addressed, but meanwhile also OPC PubSub as a cornerstone for the field-level communication initiative has been integrated. The next steps are to prepare the TÜV assessment and certification, which is planned for early next year. This has been the demonstrator at the SPS show. It shows exactly all the prototype work and that everything is live and up and running for controller to controller horizontally communication. But you see also demonstrators for OPCUA safety over 5G and OPCUA safety itself. So it was a lot of interest and it was always overcrowded here. This picture has been made very early in the early morning hours. Looking forward, the field level communication initiative has already started the controller to device, which also includes the device to device activities, and they are actively working on parameterization, networking, diagnosis. The motion team has started. We made a collaboration with the field com group about instrumentation, and also the IO group has started. So the complete work group structure has been established already, and there will be additional call for participation calls early next year. Let's now focus on news from the OPCUA Cloud Initiative. First of all, here is the overview what we mean with the Cloud Initiative. And overall, we believe there are 4 topics. I'm addressing here today specifically topic number 3, but I just like to mention topic number 1, the Cloud Library, which is an open, available, cloud-based repository with the world's largest number of OPCUA-based information models. It has a REST API interface, so you can upload OPCUA-based information models, you can search and download them. The idea is that you order a device, let's say a pump or a robot, but meanwhile you can download the information model, you can start on your IT work, and once the device is arriving and you get it, you have done your pre-work already done. The second part, the Cloud Federation, is about how can cloud-to-cloud communication be established. Remember, you have a big plant or a big factory, and you do not want to share information from machine parts in parallel to multiple supplier clouds. Instead, you first want to collect all information into the manufacturer cloud, and from there, from the manufacturer cloud, by specific agreements and contracts, you want to forward data into supplier clouds. This group has established a while ago, and I hope to show first results, live demonstrations next year. Number 4 is on education IoT starter kits. I'm coming to that later on. Let's focus here on topic number 3, on the standardized communication from field to cloud and cloud to field. And let's recap what happened in the year 2021. And this is exactly what I have demonstrated you last year when I was a speaker at the OPC Day Japan 2021. At that time, we had a demonstration wall to show that MQTT itself as a transport layer to the cloud is de facto standard, but it's not enough because MQTT does not define the payload. And this results in multiple companies and consortia mapping definitions. And so it is not the USB connector between field and cloud. It is always additional administration and engineering effort required. And so the solution was to use OPCUA PubSub over UDP and MQTT, which has been published in February 2018 already. And it contains 2 different bindings, a JSON and a binary binding for different use cases. And this combination also allows end-to-end security. At that time in 21, I like to remind that we only had 2 companies, OT companies, supporting OPCUA over MQTT directly out of the controller. it was Beckhoff Automation and Siemens, and it was only one IT company, it was Microsoft Azure. So we had a live demo in 2021. In early this year, in February 2022, on the right side, you see that major cloud companies have committed to also support OPCUA over MQTT. It was AWS, Google Cloud, IBM, Microsoft Azure, who had it implemented already, Siemens MindSphere, and SAP. Let's have a look what happened in the year 2022. At this SPS show, we had in total 18 OT companies who have been able to push directly data via OPCUA over MQTT from their assets to the cloud. This is a fantastic increase of assets. But even more, we have been super proud that the next cloud giant, AWS, Amazon Web Service, supported OPCUA PubSub over MQTT. So you see me smiling here on the left side on our dashboard. On the left side, the dashboard from Microsoft on the picture, and on the right side, the dashboard with the same information from Microsoft Azure. Again, remember, this is a major milestone because now nobody has to do any additional engineering effort. Every machine builder receiving controllers from specific companies who are also supporting this initiative can immediately, by plug and produce, push data into cloud systems with any additional effort. This is a dream where even I have been really surprised that we get it that quickly. On the right side, you see that AWS, who had also a booth at the SPS show, also showed the demo and the dashboard on their booth. And you see here Steve Blackwell from AWS. So let's have a quick update on what happened in the area of information models. First of all, I like to remind everybody that definitely the semantic interoperability is the key for the digitalization. Just having the same transport of data, like we are using OPC as a transport mechanism for interoperability and everybody is using OPCUA, is just, let's say, half of what we really like to establish. OPCUA itself is providing a higher level of security, definitely, but the real key, as I mentioned already, for the digitalization is to have semantic interoperability. We are extremely proud to have over 85 groups with domain experts organized together with partner associations who have defined the semantics for their verticals. And so it is the largest ecosystem for information models in the automation world. We have completely designed a new landing page, which makes it much easier for you to search and navigate and find out, is there an information model available for your specific market, or has somebody worked on something? What is the status? Who is my contact partner? And this was really a major step here to make it much more easier to find this information. As a short overview, till September, we already released 12 information models, and till September, we already announced 5 new working groups, and maybe there are coming a few more till end of the year. I like to highlight here one specific joint working group because of the importance and because of this is a perfect example how to work together and collaborate with other standardization organizations. Because I truly believe, and I can't stop repeating this, that one organization is no longer able to fulfill all requirements of the industry today. We have to work together, and this is why I'm proud that the OPC Foundation is so much collaborating with other standardization organizations. Power consumption started also as an initiative from the P&O, and they have contacted the OPC Foundation to move all their information and their know-how and their deep know-how on power consumption and the modeling from the field bus level up into the IT level and put it and bring it into OPC-UA. We, the OPC Foundation, networked immediately with the VDMA because we thought it does not make sense to only have a power consumption, let's say, for the robot or just for the injecting molding machine or the pump. Power consumption is something extreme generic, which should be identical in all the assets. And so we contacted the VDMA to make sure this is part of the UA for machinery with the building blocks which are in all the information models. And by doing this, also the ODVA showed up and says, we also have with SIP Energy a lot of experience, so why not contribute this here together and work together on one harmonized solution? The beauty here is that this organization and this new joint working group will be extreme quick and have very quick results because by luck, Professor Karl-Heinz Niemann, he's a professor in Hannover, Germany, exactly was working on a harmonized energy model based on OPC-UA, and he has exactly analyzed all the other energy power consumption information models and has made a proposal already. So this group can really be based on his results and now come together and very quickly integrate everything into the UA for machinery. So we will hear much more, and you see that Professor Niemann made a podcast and you are highly invited to listen to the podcast. Let's talk quickly about some news. First, I like to highlight the new .NET user group. And first of all, we have to understand this is not an initiative by the OPC Foundation. Instead, it's a group of companies who like to increase the quality of the stack and also integrate new additional functionalities, like new security features, like the ECC mechanism, and so on. The three initial funders are OPC Foundation Board of Director companies, ABB, Microsoft, and SAP. And because two of them are so much IT related, the first focus will be on how to do the connection to IT and cloud connected scenarios. For me, it's important to mention that there will be no change in the licensing. So the .NET stack will remain public available. It is open source and it is under a dual license. So OPC Foundation members can use it and they do not have to open their source code, and non-OPC Foundation members have it as open source under GPL v2. And you find all other information on GitHub and you see the link here. I like to introduce a new initiative. It's the Industrial Ethernet Security Harmonization Group, which we started some years ago, together with the field bus organizations, the Fieldcom Group, the ODVA, and the Profinet Profibus International. And together with the OPC Foundation, we decided to work on a harmonized security concepts across our communication systems based on standards. The idea was that definitely in factories, in plants, you find different technologies from these different supplier standardization organizations, and end users should not be confused by having different wording. Instead, we want to make it easy that customers understand it easy to understand, but also implement and operate security in their heterogeneous environment. A first white paper for frequently asked questions on these security concepts is now available in the internet. A very short update on the OPCUA academics. I introduced this also last year. Last year we have been on the way to establish all the slides and all the content. This has meanwhile been done in this year. The content have been finalized. We have over 250 slides in different areas: security, modeling, what is OPCUA internally, what are the transport patterns, how does security work. For professors, they can just register, they can download, they can copy, they can steal whatever they want. But meanwhile, we also have 100% recordings of the slides. So a professor, Daniel Grossmann, has recorded all the slides so that professors really are sure how to explain it to their students. We also realized that we have to do translations now. The slide deck has been translated to Chinese already, and right now we have started the translation into other languages like France and Spanish and Arabic, and I highly recommend that these slides are also getting translated for the Japanese language and for Japanese students. Last year, I also announced a new product catalog upcoming, and this product catalog is meanwhile online. You find it online in the OPC Foundation web, and it makes it much easier to find products, but you find even much more information to the product, because remember, OPCUA is something like a big Lego brick collection, and here you can even set filters to find specific information, like which products are supporting OPCUA over MQTT, and then you exactly get the subset of products fulfilling this functionality. So number one is please have a look. And number two, my call for action here is please check and fill up your own product information that visitors can find your product and all the capabilities. I like to highlight that we just today published the 7th edition of the ebook. It has a lot of content again with success stories, with exactly the interview with Professor Niemann and other parts. I really would love to also provide Japanese content here to the rest of the world. So again, a call for action here. Please provide content that the rest of the world is aware about the great success stories and the great efforts from OPC Japan. We really like to integrate more content from Japan in one of the next editions of this ebook. We are also very proud that we published meanwhile the 4th big success story from end users. It's not vendor driven, it's really end customer driven, and end customers are reporting why OPCUA has been selected and what have been the benefits of OPCUA in their different areas. If you have a success story, please contact us, and a journalist will do the work. It is a pleasure to learn about the success in the regions, and I would really appreciate to also have success stories from the Asia and specifically Japanese market. As my last slide, I want to give you something to think about. I'm thinking at least about this, and it's about the huge number of initiatives where sometimes even I'm completely overloaded with information and no longer be able to explain what is this or that initiative doing. And to make it very clear, all the large enterprise companies have completely no problem with supporting all these initiatives. They have so much manpower that they are aware to monitor and even actively contribute to all these different associations. But the small and medium enterprise companies they are confused and more unclear about all the interaction of all these initiatives. And I sometimes believe that this confusion really prevents the adoption of technologies. But on the other hand, I'm super glad because all the listed initiatives here are committed to OPC UA, and this is definitely where we are proud on the large adoption worldwide. I'd like to announce that together with Automation ML, the Industrial Data Twin Association and the VDMA, we all together work on a positioning paper talking about the interaction of the asset administration shell, the digital twin, Automation ML, and OPC UA as a big picture of interoperability solutions. So stay tuned for 2023. This was my presentation as an overview what happened in the year 2022, but also what's going on. You notice that I'm really proud on all the progress in the field area, but also on the cloud area with the cloud giants. What a great success story on all the years. Again, congrats to your own agenda at the OPC Day Japan for so much content. I will definitely monitor and figure out what we can take and let the world know at the OPC Day International 2023. For now, I say thank you for listening. I say bye-bye. I want to highlight that you please subscribe to the newsletter and of course, stay healthy in these days and take care of yourself and your family. Thank you. Bye-bye.